Given that the overwhelming majority of the increase in wealth and income since the bottom of the recession till today has occurred with the top 1 or 2%, two questions. One, why? And two, is this good or bad in your view?
Elaine or Mike, why don't you start?
I think it's bad. I think Mike is very right in talking about the aspirational meritocracy, which has always characterized America. I mean, my parents I came from, Taiwan as an immigrant. We had nothing. But somehow, despite the bad years, we just knew that this is a land of opportunity. And I think that's a very important message that somehow our party and all of America has to maintain. So I think it's very harmful. And this 1%, I just think this 1% is such a bogus, let me put it this way, I think it's such a demagogued issue. Mike talked about the skills gap. There's a widening gap between people who earn a lot of money and people who don't, putting aside Wall Street. And that's primarily because of the skills gap. More and more, we are a knowledge-based economy, and employers are paying higher wages to those workers that possess more knowledge. That actually works to the advantage of women, because women are now graduating in larger numbers from professional schools, from colleges. So we're going to see more and more women taking leadership positions. So I think it's very bad, but I think we need to have a real honest look as to what does that 1% really mean. And I'm sure Karl and Mike would have a better discussion.
I think there's a disturbing dynamic at work here, but it's not because of the wealthy are wealthy. It's because a significant number of people at the bottom of our system, about a third of workers now, which is a scary notion, lack the education, the skills, and the family structure and background. If you read Robert Putnam, and you're talking about these are the three major factors that determine social mobility. To compete in an increasingly meritocratic economic system and a globalized economic system. The effect of that is, but Republicans shouldn't downplay this as though it's, we're not concerned about inequality. I think the traditional Republican view is in a highly mobile system where people can go from the bottom to the top, inequality is a natural outcome of capitalism. In a situation where you can't move from the bottom to the top, inequality is a caste system. It's essentially condemning a whole group of people, generation after generation, to not have the ability to compete in a free market. And that, to me, is exactly what Republicans need to be addressing. And my concern, as I've already expressed it, is that the 1980 Republican economic message of low taxes and high growth doesn't address that. It doesn't even speak into those concerns. Now, we need economic growth. Right now it's anemic, and you can't get social mobility in the absence of a dynamic economy. But you have to have policies that are actually specified to build social capital in market-oriented ways to help people be able to compete in a free economy.
I think it is a problem, and look, Mike's hit it. The main driver of this is family and education, and I agree with Mike entirely. This needs to be a robust effort. I mean, it's going to be more likely to happen at the state level than at the federal level, because a big component of this is breaking up the education oligopoly that is failing too many of our children. We have a system in some of our big cities that says we're concerned more with the inputs than the outcomes, and we don't give a crap if we're educating. The District of Columbia, 1 out of every 2 students who enters the school system, the public school system in the District of Columbia, will never graduate from high school. That is a stain on our great country, and we need to address it. Now, I might have a slightly different view in another way. I'm like Elaine. I didn't come up with much. I got to go to college because I got a $1,500 a year scholarship from the William Randolph Hearst Foundation. When I moved into my freshman year, my dorm room, my apartment, was a rented storage space under an eave. I hung my clothes on a nail. My light was one of those things that you get at the auto repair shop that's got the cage on the outside of the light bulb, and I slept on a foam mattress, and I had to work 3 jobs to make my way through school. And I think there is another problem. Our government has gotten too big, and there's too much corporate welfare, and there are too many breaks that benefit the big guys and the people who've already got it. And you get these wind farms where we're paying gigantic amounts of money in the name of green energy to a couple of fly-by-night guys who've been able to put together a lot of money and make a quick buck. We got ethanol. I was meeting with an ethanol guy. He said, my plant, our facility paid off in 2 years. We got all of our capital investment back in 2 years, benefited because we had the blender's tax, we got tax credit, and we got through the tax system, we got our entire investment back in 2 years in this huge facility. You talk to some of these offshore guys who are drilling, they say, you know, Tom DeLay put that stupid tax credit for offshore oil development. We don't need it, but we have to take advantage of it because it's there. But we don't need it. What the hell are we doing that for? We can make plenty of money without it. So we got a tax system that benefits the big guy over the little guy, and we need to reform it. And we got a government with way too much benefits that flow to the people who got the money that keeps us from providing the resources necessary to the people who don't have money, and also keeps us all paying too much in taxes because they're running up too much of debt, because most of that corporate welfare, if not all of it, is being paid for by borrowing money we don't have. And so I think we got to address it. And I want somebody who's going to stand up and say, we need to take on corporate welfare at the same time that we're doing these other things that stand for the Republican right to rise. We believe in the right to rise. We believe in the ability of a daughter of immigrants to rise. We believe in the son of a geologist and a stay-at-home mom who sold Avon products because she was that industrious. You know, we believe in the right to rise, and we need to find ways to do that, but we got to couple it, I think, with a robust attack on corporate welfare and the tax system.
I'm glad.